Hello, I'm Emma of Granola Gear, and I'm so excited to be chatting with you again today about what I have been working on lately. It's been a little while since I've done a video, so I have a lot to show you. We're talking knitting, obviously, we're talking needlepoint, and we're talking sewing, which I've not done a lot of sewing in quite a while. I don't even remember the last time or if I ever showed you anything sewing related on this channel. It was probably a year ago. So I'm excited for all the things that I'm going to talk to you about today. But we're going to start really quick with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Duty by Fiber Tales knit in the Hobby Friends Cotton Silk. So a cotton silk blend yarn in the color bottle green. It's a DK weight. I really like how it feels. It's very nice and soft and comfortable. This is my first wear of it. I would still like to make the I-cord a bit looser so the neckline sits a little bit lower. But other than that, it's fine. And I just don't feel like doing that yet because sometimes you just need to put a piece down for a while before you can work on it again. So I'm happy with the fit. I'm happy with the length. I think it's a very nice top and it's starting to get cool enough that I can feasibly wear it because it has been a pretty hot summer here in the Northeast, pretty hot and dry. Well, dry as in no rain, but we've definitely had some humidity. So I have not been wearing as many knits as I did like last year. So that's what I'm wearing really quick. And now let us get into it. To start, we're going to go through all of my knitting first, everything to do with knitting. I have no finished objects. And then I'm going to do the needlepoint and the sewing at the very end. So if you don't care about that at all, you can skip it. Though I encourage you to watch because I think it's interesting and I did some fun stuff. My knitting mojo has been really all over the place this summer. I think mostly because last summer I was not working. I got a new job in September of last year. So I spent the summer knitting and making videos and all of that. And the type of stuff that I could wear for summer was a little different than the type of stuff I'm wearing most of the time now, because now I'm in an office. So I'm not wearing like my knit tank tops most of the time. So what I've been able to make has been a little different. And honestly, I feel like there haven't been a lot of summer patterns that have come out this season that I'm feeling like super inspired by. Like now we're reaching the end, so it doesn't even matter, but I feel like I was looking all summer and there were a couple that I liked, but I wasn't super enthused. I think I also there was so much going on. I was not in the brain space to do anything really complicated. So though there were some things I started, it just like, I just wanted to be able to pick something up and knit stockinette most of the time. And that was not what I was doing. And that is how we got where we are. So I have no finished objects, but I'm going to talk through a bunch of pieces, some of which are like almost done and I haven't even shown you. So let us get into that. We're going to start with a piece that I am sadly probably going to frog. I would like to knit it correctly, but that will probably not be this season at this point because it's September now. And though it is not cold out yet here in the Northeast, it probably will be soon. And I just don't think it's going to happen if I start over. And that's the Penelope top by Sari Nordland. This is a whole thing, and some of it's my fault. It is essentially my fault, but I'll explain. So my sample is knit in the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Ballerina, which is a light fingering weight yarn. This was leftover / frogged from a tank top that I knit last summer and decided I was not going to wear. And so I decided to knit this piece because Sari's sample of the Penelope top is in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. So I was like, perfect. Same yarn, same amount, similar garment, but I think more wearable for me. Sounds perfect. And you know what? I usually knit a gauge swatch. I usually knit at least a small gauge swatch to get an idea of if I'm going to be anywhere close to the gauge for the piece. Didn't even cross my mind for this one. Didn't even think of it. Why? Because I have knit other light fingering weight pieces by multiple designers that were originally knit in pure silk. I've knit other designers' pieces for summertime in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk that were designed in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. And I just kind of had it in my head that the gauge would be really similar. It's the same yarn as all of these other pieces on the same size needles. Like if they're telling me to use 3mm needles with a light fingering weight piece, I'm going to assume the gauge is somewhere in the 20s. So I just started knitting this. Started knitting it in my size. Didn't think about the fact that, every single Sari Nordland piece I've ever knit has somehow ended up being a little small. I was like, it's fine. summertime. It's okay if my tank top's a little tight. It's fine. So I finally am working on the body. And if you've seen pictures of this piece, it has a little like waist tie in the middle. And so at some point in the middle of the body, you have to add these little holes where the waist tie is going to be threaded through. So I was getting to like where the measurement said that point would be. And I tried it on. I'm like, this is tight. This is like, we're like stretching it out like this. Like this is just not how I want it to look. I'm thinking like, I'm going to have to make this bigger. I'm going to have to frog back to at least the straps, and I'm going to have to make like at least a size up because this is just really tight. And I think I posted something about it on my Instagram, and I was like, what is with this? Why are all these patterns so small? And someone's like, well, have you heard that Sari is a tight knitter? And I'm like, okay, like maybe I've heard that. Like, I guess it makes sense to me, but I'm not like a loose knitter. I don't think I'm a loose knitter. I knit continental, but I don't knit like super loose. I usually get gauge with suggested needles. Like 9 times out of 10, I don't switch my needles, or at least it's like very, very close. So I'm like, we're calling it good. I'm not super crazy perfectionist because like if we're talking like 2 millimeters, I'm not worried. Blocking's going to do something to it anyways. So that's my philosophy. We like to do things well, but we're not going to like fixate on perfection. So I go and I finally look at the gauge for this piece. I don't know why it did not cross my mind, but I'm telling you, it did not cross my mind for a second that I should look at the gauge. Don't know why. I just wanted to use this yarn. I liked this piece. I was excited about it. And I just went. And the gauge on 3 millimeter needles with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk is 17 stitches. How is that possible? I'm sounding like a little crazy right now, but how is that possible? I don't understand. I can't even feasibly comprehend how I would get 17 stitch gauge with the same needles and the same yarn that I'm using. That doesn't even make sense to me. So here we are. And honestly, I wouldn't want a 17 stitch gauge piece in this yarn. It would be way too open. Way too open. And I think looking at the piece, I saw and understood that it was more open and more loose. But I didn't put it together. Didn't put it together, and it just went whoosh. So like I'm saying that this is my fault. I know it's my fault that I have this piece that is totally wrong. 100% my fault. But I think that great gauge is crazy for this yarn, personally. So I would like to knit this piece again. Probably next year. I will probably size up and not knit it at the gauge that she suggests. I will probably still not knit it at a 17 stitch gauge because I do not want it to be that open. I will size up and size up my needles, but not to the point of giving me a 17 stitch gauge because that's bonkers. So yeah, that is the story of this piece. Very sadly, it's like I got a really nice fabric here. It just does not fit. So that really sucks. But you know, you win some, you lose some. And when you've invested enough time in a light fingering weight piece, you just really feel like you lost some. So here we are. Here he is. This is where we're at. And I'm sad about it. And like, I never know when I talk about these things that were like totally my fault if someone's going to like totally come at me in the comments. Because it happens. Not often, but people are crazy. And like, I'm going to be honest, guys, if you're mean enough, I will shame you in my Instagram stories. If you're going to say it to the world, I'm going to say it to the world. That's all I got to say. It's my fault. I know it's my fault, but that gauge is crazy, personally. So now let's get off my frustration. I've gotten that out to you guys. I've been thinking about that for like a long time because I know it's been quite a few weeks since I posted a podcast. I just needed to get that out. So now it is out and I can move on with my life and I'm so excited. Yeah, so the last couple weeks I was leading up to a big trip. We went on a family cruise to Alaska. I've never been on a cruise. It was really amazing. It was really beautiful. The weather was like absolutely stunning the entire time, which I know is like not usually what happens in Alaska. So it was awesome. But I was like kind of stressed leading up to that trip because it was a big trip. And then I didn't have internet or anything while I was there. So I didn't get to you guys for a while. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. And now you're getting all the things I have to show you. So the next thing I have to show you, I think the next two I did not show you before. I had not cast on yet. I'm not really sure about this guy, but I'm pretty sure I did not. At the very least, I've made a huge amount of progress. And that is the lace polo tee by Spectacle Strick. I saw this in early summer and then I like completely forgot about it. And then I saw it on Instagram again and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I love. It's a raglan, like easy peasy stockinette. Let's do that. And here it is. Here's where we're at. We're working on the body. We're pretty far. I've done both the sleeves. I've done the collar, which is kind of hard to see because it's like curling up right now because obviously it's not blocked. So this says it's a fingering weight piece. The sample they knit is in 2 strands of knitting for olive pure silk. I maybe call that a fingering. I maybe call it like a DK to get the gauge that they list for this. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. So I had started this summer. I had this tin Lena in the color Twilight. I've put Midnight on the screen before, and I was wrong. It's Twilight. And so this tin Lena that I bought last summer on clearance at a local yarn store, I was going to knit the cloud tee in it. I started the cloud tee, and this was just not fun to knit single strand. So I was like, you know what? I've not gotten far enough on this. It's been sitting in my WIP basket for like months at this point. I don't feel like I really want to knit it. This has just not been a good knitting summer for me. So we're just going to use it for something else. So I frogged that. And now I'm holding 1 strand of this tin Lena, which is this nice purple color with, I only have a little bit of it left. I have this, I don't know where I put the cone. Oh, it's over there. I've shown in the past, I'll put up a picture on the screen of it, this cotton, I think, cone that I thrifted that's like, it's a very thin, it's like maybe a lace weight. Like this isn't even, we're talking like, it's not thread, but we're talking like crochet thread kind of thinness. But it's pretty soft. It's not stiff. If it was stiff, I wouldn't have bought it and I wouldn't have considered using it. But I'm using 2 strands of this, which is probably a fingering, along with a strand of the tin Lena, which is a light fingering. And I really like how these colors are looking. I had like no real issues with color pooling in the yoke. The light's getting kind of dimmer in here, so I don't know if you can see it. There's no real color pooling issues in the yoke. It started being more of an issue in the sleeves, but I figured it out. And then I've definitely had issues in the body. And so I have a lot of these, like I pulled the yarn, 1 strand of the yarn up to like kind of change the pace of the different colors so that it was more staggered. So I'm hoping you can probably see a couple spots where it pooled, but like I think I've gotten better at like doing that, which is just kind of annoying because I just don't want to think right now. Like I don't want to think about what's happening. So it's kind of a pain to have to like look and think about like, is the color pooling? Do I need to change now before it looks like a big pool? Like that's been kind of annoying because I've really had to do that quite a few times at this point. But it is what it is. I do like how the piece is turning out. It's a really nice drape, which I really like. Hopefully the collar looks nice when it's blocked. I did do the crochet like lacy trim, which is super easy and quick. And I used for this my leftover knitting for olive cotton merino that I bought last year and knit the twist loop top in. It's in the color Japanese Anemone. Part of why I really wanted to knit this piece when I thought about it was like I realized that this pink would look really good with this like multicolored. This is like a pink, a really pale green, and a dark kind of gray blue. I knew that this pink would look really good on the edges with this and it would be a nice contrast. So yeah, this has been really fun to knit. It's been really easy. I mean, it's a super simple raglan. Like it's not like we're not doing anything fancy on the edges. I needed something that was easy because nothing else was happening. And I love a collar. I love a collar. I'm a collar girl. So I know that this will absolutely get worn. It should be nice and loose. I think I'm knitting it in the size small, whatever that size would be, I would assume. I can't remember. But yeah, easy peasy. When I started knitting this, there were like no projects on Ravelry. So I can't remember how long this bit has been out, but it's at the very least just came out this summer. But I don't know. Summer knitting seems to be like not with it this year. Everyone's like not into it or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just what I've seen. But this is where we're at. I like it. I think it'll turn out really cute. This is the first Spectacle Strick pattern I've actually ever knit. I do like a lot of their color work patterns, but I'm kind of iffy on like how much shaping they do or don't have. I know at least one person who's knit the wave sweater, and it looks really beautiful, but I don't know how much shaping it has for, I don't know, color work is hard because it really does need like some kind of raised like back neckline, because it's just gonna want to sit where it's gonna want to sit. It's not gonna want to move with you as much generally, so you do need some shaping to make it like fit you well. Plus they're just really intense patterns, so I haven't gotten to it, but I really like this. So that's where we're at with that guy, the lacy polo tee. And then next is another cast on that I've made minimal progress on, and this is also an acquisition. So I really hadn't bought any summer yarn this year. Once again, not in the zone for whatever reason. So I decided to place a wool warehouse order a couple weeks ago now, and I bought Drops Muscat, which is 100% cotton, and it's their DK weight cotton, which I have not used before. I've used their Saffron, which is a fingering weight, and I've used their Paris, which is like an Aran weight. And I got the color Bordeaux, which is not a Bordeaux really in my mind. This is like a bright red. But I was looking at all the colors, and like I just did not like the selection they had for like this one specifically. I don't know. I was just not really feeling any of them, but I was like, we're just going to do it. We're just going to go for it. I kind of wanted to do like a dark chocolatey brown, but they didn't really have one that was rich enough. They were all like a little washed out, and I just didn't like the color. Looking at Ravelry pictures of people's stuff, their stuff looked good. I just didn't really like the color. So we went with this, which is good enough. I will say that this, I know it's a mercerized cotton, but this is way shinier to me than like the Saffron or the Paris was. But maybe after I wash it a couple times, it'll be better. So this is all I have to show you for this piece. This is the Amy top by Mochi Knits. Also it's supposed to be a collared tank top, which at this point, I don't know how much I'll wear out of a tank top. I probably will. Sadly, it'll probably still be too warm for too long. It's a DK weight piece. Yes, Bordeaux, color 41, going fine. I'm just working on the back. I haven't gotten very far. I have just worked more on the lacy polo tee because it's stockinette in the round, and I have not been in the mood to do like anything else. So here we are. I'll get to it eventually. I just haven't. Can you guys tell? I'm just like, I don't even know what I want anymore. But I've not been in the mood for doing anything complicated. I'm tired. Can you tell I'm tired? The time change from Alaska really got me. Like 3 hours I can do normally. 4 hours was kind of a lot. Plus it was a red eye home. But enough of that. This is going to be beautiful when it's done. I think it'll be a nice piece. I just also looked at the pattern once I bought it, and there were a lot of instructions. I was kind of hoping it would be easy, and there were a lot of instructions. So then I was like, not intimidated, but I was just not in the mood to like understand. So I had not gotten much further. There is that. Next piece. This is the last knitting piece. And then I still have like an acquisition to show you, and then we'll go on to the rest of it. Now, it's the Holger sweater that I've been working on for a friend in the 1 to 2 year size by Petite Knit, DK weight, all scrappy. This is all superwash. This is unknown. This is unknown. I got a fuzz sticking out here. I'll figure it out later. I'm assuming this is not superwash. I'm not sure about this, which we're just mixing. It's fine. I have a friend who's having a baby in the winter, I think. I'm horrible. And she knits, and I had asked her if there was anything that she wanted that she didn't think she was going to knit. And she said, I don't think I have the scraps for a Holger sweater. She's having a boy. So I was like, I definitely have the scraps for a Holger sweater, so I'm working on this. I just haven't started the sleeves yet. I just wanted to get the bottom done and then work on some other stuff. But I have plenty of time. The goal is to finish this by like early October. She's having a baby shower. Yeah, but she obviously, the baby's not going to wear this out the womb. It's like a little big, but that was kind of the point, to knit like a taller size sweater. So there's that. I think I was just working on the body before, but I have finished these edges. I'm going to do what I have for scraps that I have enough of is like a yellow and a brown. I don't love that combo, but it is what it is. I might do orange on the cuffs, which Petite Knit's pattern does not have orange on the cuffs, or like a contrast cuff. But I kind of wanted to throw the orange in there somewhere, so that's what we're thinking. Don't tell me if you hate it, because that's what we're doing. So that is everything I've made. Acquisitions. 1. Finally bought buttons for my Dagmar. I haven't put them all on yet, so I will show you when I have. I've only put 2 of them on because I hate attaching buttons. I got these brown toggle buttons. I've never put toggle buttons on a knit, but I thought it would look good, and her piece, Petite Knits piece, uses toggle buttons. And I just got them from Wool Warehouse. They were pretty inexpensive. I got 6 of them. They're just like a medium brown, which is good because my local yarn store has not a huge button selection. The ones they have, a lot of them are super expensive. So buttons, I bought that Drops Muscat, the cotton. And then on my Alaska trip, I got 1 skein of yarn. This is a hand-dyed, I think, fingering weight. It is 80% super rush merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. I always get like sock yarn when I go places, and then I don't knit socks. I used to, but I just don't anymore. I don't want to. So I have 2 skeins of like special sock yarn that I need to knit a scarf or something with. So this time I went for a more traditional fingering weight yarn that can be used for a hat. And this is from Raven Frog Fibers. It's kind of the store was interesting. I think it was called Boreal. Sorry if that's wrong. Arts in Skagway, Alaska. It was one of the few yarn stores that I could find in the ports that we went to because there were a lot of really small places. And it was kind of like, it was not consignment, but it was like a pretty large storefront with a number of different types of things in it. Like there was a yarn and knitting corner. There was like, I don't know, other various arts and crafts. It wasn't like an general arts and crafts store. It seemed like it was a storefront that like allowed either had collected a bunch of different things or was like an antique store. People have booths. That may not have been the exact case, but that was the impression that I got, which makes sense because it may be hard to support a full yarn store in a super seasonal area where you don't have as many like all the time locals buying from you. So I totally understand. But yeah, handmade in Sitka, Alaska by Raven Frog Fibers. And what color is this? You gorgeous goat. There it is. I'll pull it out so you can see. I just thought this was like a really pretty earthy color. They had some very nice colors. They had some nice bases. I didn't want to go for anything super bright because I didn't really want anything super bright. I wanted something that felt kind of natural, kind of Alaska. That was the vibe that we were going for. But the blues were all kind of aggressive for me, so I went for this, which I really like this color. There's some nice kind of purpley grays and browns, mauves, greens with a little bit of yellow. This is a good color for me, I think. I think this will be a super cool hat, and it's a very soft yarn. So this was a good buy. I'm excited to use this. I think it'll look really nice. Maybe, no. I was so confused by this label kind of. I think the name is You Gorgeous Goat, but the colorway is minus tide. And then it's got like a whole long description. I was really confused. Oh, I guess that, yeah, that says You Gorgeous Goat and then minus tide. I get really confused. I know other people have talked about this in the past. Like it's confusing when dyers all call their bases different things. Like this one has the gauge on it and the recommended needles and the skein size and yardage, but I couldn't find anywhere where it said like fingering, DK or whatever, even in the store, which is fine. Like gauge is kind of similar. I just like kind of had to eyeball it. I was looking for a DK, but I didn't see anything that looked like a DK. So here we are. I'm fine with this. I'm happy with this. I think this is really pretty. I'm really excited to use it. So this is my knitting acquisition. And then we're going to get into needlepoint. And because we're still in acquisitions, I'm going to start with an acquisition. I also bought from Wool Warehouse a whole bunch of DMC tapestry wool for a piece I want to start after I finish the one that I'm working on, which I'm pretty close to. I have a piece in mind that I would like to do that is also from one of the books that I have. I've also purchased a bunch of vintage books. I'm not going to show them all to you because I think I may do a video about needlepoint books at some point in the future, because I have purchased a lot at this point because they're like $5 on eBay. So I've been collecting to try and gain some information. Plus I have a stack from the library. So we're doing all avenues here, but I just have a lot of it. I actually still don't know if I have enough because I'm figuring it out. I'm learning. I learn by doing. I learn by figuring it out. And that's what we are doing. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about this piece. I really kind of like that this takes me a long time, which is sort of nice. I like that it's still woolly. I really like the look of it. Like, I love the look of needlepoint. I think it's so, I love the like Victorian, Edwardian look of it. It's fun and it's easy and it's really satisfying to me to see like the way that it all pops. So that being said, this is where we're at with the current needlepoint piece. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about things I'm doing wrong. I have learned a lot about things that don't really matter. I've learned a lot about how to make things work better. But I'm still really happy with this for a first piece. Like, that is kind of, to me, what first pieces are good for, and why it's sometimes good to start on something really big. Even if you don't do a good job, even if you like don't finish, you can learn so much from stretching yourself and like choosing to do something a little more complicated and a little more intimidating than you would from just doing the easiest possible thing. So here's where we are. As you may or may not be able to tell on camera, I did run out of this blue that I have, and then I had a very similar blue that I actually filled in these sections with after I did in between everything. And then with that order, I ordered blue that was the same color code, but very obviously not going to be the same dye lot. I was hoping that it would be the same color, just darker or lighter, and it's very much more teal than like a true blue like this is. And I decided, you know what, I'll just fill in as much as I can to get this shape kind of ovular, and then I will work on this new stuff around the outside. But now that I have this much around the outside and I have this much down here because I get bored, so I switch which section, I am running out. I have like one little hank left and I have so much to go. So I am probably going to finish that hank and then I'm going to set this down for a while. That is because I don't know if I'm going to have enough for my next project either. So my thought is, if I use up all that I have for this, get as far as I can. I had originally said I want to finish this as a pillow, but it is quite large and I'm not sure if that's what I want. I may just like hold on to this as it is for a while, and that's fine with me. Like, I think it's really nice, really beautiful. I'll probably finish it somehow someday, but it's not like, I'm not like super dying to have it. This was like a project. This was a fun project. I don't need to have this as a pillow right now in my home. So that's fine. But so the thought is, I will finish what I have with this, then I will start my other project. I will get most of the way through that project. And if it's looking like I'm going to run out of the yarn for that as well, then I will place an order with everything I need for that and for this. Because I do not want to buy like 5 more of the little hanks for this, and then, I don't know, in 3 months have to buy like 10 more hanks for that project as well. And then I wasn't going to finish this right away anyways, so who cares? But yeah, this was out of a Beth Russell book. I have a handful of those books now. I really like it. There's definitely things I would have done differently, but as if you've seen the other videos, you may have heard me mention, like, basically all of this yarn in the center that I didn't buy in the second bit was like came for free from just a person on the internet on Facebook. So I was working with what I had. There isn't really enough contrast between the dark green and the blue, especially in real life. I don't know if it is on camera, but that's okay. We're living and we're learning. So this was really fun. And in the meantime, because I kind of needed a break from this because I've just been cranking as much as I can on this blue, I started a little sampler of a piece I have an idea for. This is not really what the piece will look like eventually someday if I do it, but I wanted to try all the little motifs that I created. And it's this little horsey and a heart and this kind of corner motif and a star. And I've been working on this for 2 days. So I think I've gotten pretty far for 2 days. I just have the rest of this section to do, which I don't think should take me too long because this was like a lot of fill. This is going around stuff. So yeah, this is kind of cool. I think his leg is too skinny here. And And so I'll probably have to change that in my chart, but that was kind of the point of my experimentation. His waist might be a little too skinny too. I think that might look a little odd. But yeah, I was like semi-basing the softened image, but like also kind of making it up. So I wanted to do a sample to see what it would look like in real life so I could make a judgment on if I wanted to do like a big piece of this someday instead of making a big piece and then deciding that I hated it. So that is that fun little needlepoint. And now we're going to move on to the sewing part of this today. I have so much to show you. I said I have 2 projects. I just was in like a mood, like I wanted to sew something, and I was like on Pinterest and I was just getting inspired by a million different things. Sorry, I keep putting my hands in the air today. I don't know what that's about. Also, really, it's part of something I saw on Instagram. And what I saw on Instagram was this bag. This is the Sac Croissant or Croissant bag by Manon de la Haute Maison. I will put the link in the bio. She's French. This is like a crescent bag, but it has ruffles. I really liked her original one because it had batting in it that made it kind of fluffy, which mine does not have batting. Mine just has interfacing, but I could not find I didn't have any batting. The local fabric store near me only had cotton batting for quilting, which is really dense, and I did not think that was going to get me the same look. So I just decided to go with interfacing because I didn't really want to order anything online. I just wanted to do it. And here we are. This fabric is just random vintage fabric I had in my stash that was pretty stiff, so I thought it would be good for this piece. I really like how it turned out. I think it's super duper cute. It's a little like, but that's kind of the point. The designer is French. I don't know if she's French Canadian or if she's French. I wasn't entirely sure, but she has the instructions in English that you can get. There are 2 sizes. This is the large size, and her video. She has a video tutorial that is in French, but I found that the combination of reading the English instructions with pictures and watching the video, watching her do it, really helped and was like enough information for me. Yeah, super cute, pretty easy. I did this in a day. Well, I cut out all the pieces one night and then I put it all together the next day. I just used interfacing that I had in stash. So the one thing that's going to get changed on this is the strap. As you can see, this bow is kind of insane. Her bow is a lot cuter, but she said in the pattern to interface the fabric, like iron on the interfacing for the straps, but then it's like 4 layers of fabric and 4 layers of the interfacing once it's all assembled, which makes it really thick, obviously, which is good for a strap. I want my strap to be like sturdy, like this is fine as a strap, but then as a bow, it looks a little bonkers once it's actually tied in a bow, and it looks huge. So I think that I may get some of the hardware to just turn this into like a sliding strap of some kind. I'll put on a picture of me wearing it. It's very cute. Like it is big and it's aggressive and it's kind of crazy. And like I look at it and I'm like, why? When am I going to wear that in public? But then when I actually put it on, I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I like it. If you're like, definitely not a beginner pattern, but like, I don't know, intermediate. I have done quite a lot of sewing in the past. I just haven't recently. I've been like very fixated on knitting. The one thing that was super annoying with my fabric, at least because it was pretty thick, was the ruffles. I hate doing ruffles, as I think plenty of other people don't like doing ruffles. The one real issue I had was that she didn't say like how long your ruffle needed to be to fit all along the edge here. So I like sewed the seams to like push the fabric down to ruffle it. And then I was like just making it as ruffled as could be on the little thing. And then I was like, wow, this is way too short. And then I had to like slowly unruffle it until it was the right length. And I kept going over and over again. Like, and it was like never long enough. And then you're trying to like get the pleats to look nice along the whole thing. And it just turned into a hole. It took forever. But it looks good. I'm happy with it. Definitely a lot of fabric, but it's a sturdy bag. The zipper that I have is like a 2-way purse zipper. It was the only one at my local yarn store that was like a good functional zipper for this piece. The bag is lined just with this like blue floral fabric. I forgot I had these fabric labels from what my logo used to look like. So I just sewed one in there for fun because it's easier to machine sew one in than it is to like hand sew one into a knitting piece, which is why I never do it. Yeah, my lining's a little loose in here, but that's just because it was like the same size as the outer pieces. And I think she mentioned that, but I didn't really care. But this was fun. It was a good like distraction. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll link it in the description. She's got a ton of reels on her Instagram of her making the bags. And that was what drew me in. So this piece is a pillowcase. This was actually, I sewed this before the bag, and I think the bag video inspired me, but then I was on Pinterest doodling around and I will put in my description the link to the original like designer of this pillowcase. I've seen it on Pinterest a million times, and then I was like, I should make that. That would be so cute. That would be so fun. Because I looked on her Instagram and she did like a round of these a long time ago. I don't know how long ago. And then she doesn't have a pattern for it. And I don't think she's ever sold them again. So I was like, well, I guess that's an opportunity to self-draft a little pillowcase. So I'm trying to figure out how to show you a pillowcase. I have this string on it. One color on this side, a different like floral on this side. And then on the edge, it has like this contrast gingham that goes to the inside, so you get this kind of peekaboo of the blue with a big old bow. And I just think it's really cute. It's really pretty. There's kind of no reason for me to make this. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that would be fun. I actually have fabric sitting on the chair to like maybe do another one, but I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do the colors because I wanted it was definitely going to be different than these, but I wanted it to like still all kind of go together. So I was having a hard time figuring that out. Because I think the gingham looks really good on the inside. But yeah, just a fun little like day project. Didn't take me too long. I did all like French seams on the inside so that there's no raw edges. I do actually have a serger. It's like just kind of an old pain in the butt one, and it's at my mom's house. I haven't brought it here because I just like haven't been sewing enough. Plus I already have 2 sewing machines in this house. I don't need 2 sewing machines and a serger in my tiny apartment. Not worth it at the moment. So that is that. This was a fun project. And I think that's all I have to show you. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've been doing any different summer crafts and knitting, what you've been into, what you've been working on. I'm really excited about needlepoint. I'm still like really fixated on needlepoint. So definitely look forward to more of that from me. And hopefully in the next video or 2, I'll have something else that I just ordered to show you that I'm really, really excited about. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. It means the world to me to have so many of you joining me and watching these videos. I think it's really fun. As you can see, it helps me kind of like work through what's going on in my head and what I'm doing, and really like gets me more motivated and excited. So thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great beginning of September, and happy knitting.